Part of my life growing up was accidental in the design industry that my parents were very interested in residential architecture. We grew up a similar type of suburb to where we are now, actually in Ivanhoe on the river. There were a lot of modernist houses that I never really knew about but I actually was intrigued by. These were the early Robin Boyd art houses along the Yarra River. So instinctively I sort of researched some of these people and they became my heroes as modern design. The process of designing my first house for my parents really came from because of the relationship with my mother, and very lovingly gave me my first ever job, which was to design a house in Templestowe, because we had moved from Ivanhoe to Templestowe, as they all did in the 70s and the 80s. So at 16, I pretty much came up with a floor plan. My father had an architect friend that he used to play golf with, so he could do the drawings properly, because I was just at school. So it's a very minimalist house in a way, and was really responding to growing up with Graham Gunn in my nearing suburb. I guess there's a series of things that occurred why I chose interiors to ultimately study instead of architecture, which I thought the process of architecture actually took too long, perhaps. I was a little bit too impatient for that, and I thought the interiors appeared to my more theatrical side perhaps as well, but it was much more spontaneous interiors, so I could get the jobs done quicker. I grew up with not the decoration, but how does the room react to outside and at the outside inside. So I didn't feel like I abandoned ship of architecture and jumped into interiors. I think I just had a grounding in both and then could naturally choose which one I wanted to end up in. My first position, I suppose, how I came to get to SJB was I'd worked at a few small design firms. I was an undergraduate. My thesis was based on Station Pier redevelopment. And from there, Alfred de Bruyn from Sim & Justin Bialik at that time came and saw my exhibition, and I went to work for them in 1987. From then on, what happened is the Crown Casino was being developed. It was ultimate theatre. There was no budget, just delivery. It learned firstly some really great rules, commitment, I suppose, and how to get things done, and sort of really taught me, I suppose, some ways of how to design on the run, which I guess I still do instinctively. From Crown, what happened is actually I was made a director of SJB Interiors. On the back of that, the Olympics were going crazy in Sydney. So it was just a natural progression that from 2000, really, we started to move into Sydney full-time. I think, I'd spent a good 10 years, from pretty much 97 to 07. For personal interest, just decided to go back to my homeland, good old Melbourne. Where we go to now, I think we've got the business in a very great spot. Very proud of the type of work I'm doing. I'm proud of my clients. Ultimately, I don't know any better ones that I can get. And so I think I'm in a great spot now for the future for our business. Good design is instinctive, I think. I don't think it's necessarily what is current or fashionable at this point. I think it's more about making it appropriate. It's about appropriateness of design, but still having a theory behind it. I think when you wake up in the morning and it comes out just naturally, you don't sort of say, I'm going to design today. If that's part of what your character and your soul is, you live for design.